Today we're going to talk about CG, or center of gravity, in your next new driver. A lot of new advancements have come about with movable weight in driver heads. And so what this allows us to do is when we place weight on specific parts of the head, we can actually get the golf ball to do specific things we want it to do. So for instance, say you're a fader of the golf ball, or a person that works the ball left to right if you're a right-handed golfer, and we have a little bit more curve than we absolutely desire. What we can do is we can actually shift weight, which is the easiest way to stop the ball from curving rather than actually closing the club face. Center of gravity of the new Cobra F8 has movable weights from back to heel. And so for the golfer that tends to fade the ball or overly fade the ball, we can move weight to the heel, which is a 12-gram weight. And what this does is it minimizes gear effect and also speeds up the club's rotation. By doing so, we can get the ball to curve a little less from left to right, but also minimize miss. So the big miss is now minimized. Now there's also other ways of using center of gravity to your advantage. Say you hit the ball a little too high, or your ball has a little bit too much spin rate. We have the new Callaway Rogue Sub-Zero, and this is similar to that of the Cobra F8, but instead of back to heel side, we have back to front center of gravity change. Now what this does is, by moving weight from back to the very front of the driver, is we can significantly reduce spin rate. So for those players that tend to hit the ball a little too high or have a little bit too much spin on their golf shot, we can move this 14-gram weight forward, significantly reduce that, get the golf ball to penetrate a little bit more, land and roll to get the desired distance result. By doing so also, by moving the weight forward, we significantly reduce the club's moment of inertia, which also increases miss hits. So when doing so, make sure we're talking with our fitter to make sure this is the best way to go to achieve the best result possible. The most advanced movable technology on the market today is the new TaylorMade M3 and their new Y-Track. And what this allows us to do is move center of gravity in multiple directions at the same time. So first we can, for instance, if we wanted to get the ball to go a little bit lower and have a little bit less spin, we'd move one weight and scoot it all the way forward. And if that player also tended to overdraw the ball or overhook the golf ball, we can take the secondary weight and shift it back and towards the toe, reducing the amount of rotation on the golf club and reducing gear effect on the golf ball. And vice versa, if we needed a stable golf club, we would shift these weights all the way back, creating a very high moment of inertia with the launch conditions of the new M3, which are high launch, very low spin. And lastly, if we needed a draw, we would shift one of the weights towards the heel and scoot one of the weights slightly in front of the other, just to create the furthest back and furthest towards the heel center of gravity as we can, once again reducing the amount of miss to the right while keeping distance as high as we possibly can. So to wrap up, or to give an overview of center of gravity of the new drivers, we have the M3, which gives us multiple directions of center of gravity adjustment, whether it's heel to toe or front to back. We can achieve that with M3. And then with the Callaway Rogue, we have front to back center of gravity, which again we can reduce or add spin as needed, but by reducing spin we also sacrifice a little bit of consistency in terms of direction. And last but not least, we have the Cobra F8, which has center of gravity that can be moved from back to heel, which can make it either a neutral driver with a little bit higher spin rate, higher launch, and maximum MOI, or we could shift it towards the heel to minimize or reduce the amount of curvature on a golf ball for a left to right shot for a right-handed golfer. So when deciding on your next driver, really take into account the stability of the driver, and the fitter will do the best they can to get that thing to go as far and as straight down the fairway as possible.